So for my second video, we're going to be cleaning the fuel tank of the tractor, which is this right here. As you can see, looking inside of it, if the camera will focus, it's pretty dirty in there, pretty gross. The outside's pretty gross. We took the sediment bowl off. It's got a lot of grime up in there. That's going to get cleaned out at a later date, not in this video. I removed the hood, or the tank, by taking the hood off, and there was just 4 bolts at the corners of the tank, right over there. And it just popped right out. Kind of slid in on this little track right here on the side. But I'm gonna be cleaning it out. Just one more look inside, see how dirty it is. Gonna be cleaning it out with just some rocks I have out of my driveway. Just gonna wrestle those around in there and make sure it breaks apart all of the deposits. And then I've got 2 gallons of 5% acidity white vinegar. I'm gonna dump those in there, let it sit for a long time. I'm gonna rotate the tank on its side every couple hours, probably gonna let it sit overnight. And hopefully, once I dump all that out, it should be nice and clean in there. One last shot. Now we're gonna put the rocks into the fuel tank and start shaking it. So I'm just gonna take them in little handfuls here and put them in this hole because it's probably gonna be difficult to pour them in. And I'm probably not gonna use this entire can full of rocks, but I'm gonna use a good amount of them. So that way there's plenty in there to break apart all the deposits. So now we got the rocks in, so I'm gonna put the cap back on the fuel tank and start shaking it. You can have other ways to shake it, like some people will take them and strap them to like a 4-wheeler tire and drive it around. But this one's a little big to put on a 4-wheeler tire, and I think I should be able to shake it on my own. So I've shook it for a few minutes, took the cap off just to see what it looks like on the inside. Won't really focus. Seems like some of the deposits are coming out, but definitely does need to get shaken a little bit more. So I'll get back to that. So we shook it around a little bit. It's looking pretty good. I'm gonna dump out these rocks and get a better look at how it's going in there. There's one left, but I can still look inside. So, the flashlight. Well, it's still gross in there, but most of the large chunks are removed out of there. If you want to put the camera in there and show them. You gotta put it a little closer. So yeah, you can tell that there's still some stuff in there, but a lot of the big chunks got removed out of the tank, which is good. I'm gonna try to get that last rock out of there, and then we can move on to the next step. So we got all the rocks out finally. It's looking a lot better in there. So now I'm gonna put these 2 gallons of white vinegar in it and let it sit overnight. And then every couple hours or so, I'm gonna come out here and flip it on its side, just so we can get the deposits on this side, or I'll flip it on this side. And I would flip it on the lid, but this cap isn't quite watertight, so it will probably just dump all the vinegar out. So there shouldn't really be any deposits on the top anyways, because the fuel sat on the bottom for however many years it sat. So I don't really think I'm gonna worry about the top, but I do definitely want to get the sides and the bottom. So I'm gonna put both gallons of this vinegar in there and we'll see how it looks tomorrow. So both gallons are in. Starting to break apart all the deposits in there. Cap's going on, and we will check back on this tomorrow. And hopefully it's all clean by then. So I actually waited 48 hours after putting the vinegar in the fuel tank instead of just one night, just to make sure it was actually clean in there and to make sure all of that gas and bad stuff is broken down and the vinegar really did its job. So now I'm gonna pour it out into a bucket and we'll see how well it did cleaning it.
Oh, come CJ.
Looks like about all of it. Alright, hand me the camera. No, it's not focusing in there. So as you saw, it's not as clean as you'd expect it to be, but most of the major deposits are broken down and all of the large stuff was removed from the tank with the vinegar. So it's pretty clean. The first 2 or 3 fuel tanks are probably gonna have a few extra deposits in them, but you can fix that by making sure your filters are clean, and if you need to, adding another filter in your fuel line itself just to, you know, make sure any larger chunks don't get put in your engine. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with the end result, and the tank looks about ready to get its first tank of gas.